Alright, so let's just get down to it. So there are a lot of issues that I had to resolve. Some of them I couldn't. They're not that significant, but most of them we can. So the first issue that we had is that the balance was off on the skate, and if you notice here that the blade holder, see how it's mounted way back, so that there's a lot of toe room in the front and it's mounted way in the back of the skate. Well, what I had to do is, when the manufacturer sent this blade, the whole skate to me, when they made the prototype, they had mounted the blade holders for me, and they mounted them in the center, as one would expect. So that, for some reason, it just didn't feel good. I felt like I was way too back on too much on my heels, and the center of balance was not in the middle of the blade. It was something. I was elsewhere, either the front or the back. I don't recall, but too much balance back on the heel. So in order to fix that, I had to bring the blade holder all the way back. Additionally, if the customer wants, they can send me their own blade holders and I'll mount them for them. The balance now is fixed. The only thing is there's a space here in the front. There's nothing I could do about it. And of course, that leaves a little space here. You don't put a screw in here because it might crack the blade holder. So you just I'm going to put 3 screws in the front and 3 screws in the back. Alright. Next is the skates have to be stiffer. Okay, so we talked about this, I believe, in the last update video. They're stiff, but when you go to flex forward, they pull in and they're not stiff enough, and I can presume that over some time, over a month of hard skating, that they're just going to become soft and they're going to lose their stiffness or durability. So they're going to have to be stiffened one more time. So send them back to the manufacturer is what I'm going to do, and they're going to add another layer of carbon fiber. The pain in the ankle bone area, so that was another big issue that took me some time to solve. But you see how they're on the right hand side here, see how it's bulged out a little bit. What I basically did is I found my father had these bearing balls, I guess you're called, and they're pretty big. I'm putting it next to a screwdriver just so you could get the sense of the size. So I found 2 of these, and I found this little, it's a clamp, and it's open on both sides. See that there? So I just put it in there, and then I took tape, and then I taped around this, and then I took this contraption, and I put it in the skate. The carbon fiber was able to make the skate soft, but it was also, good thing about it is it was molded around this device that I put in here, and it formed this little bulge on the outside. So now the pressure is spread all evenly against your ankle bone and not in one spot. So that solves the pain issue. And then the eyelets, they weren't big enough when they came from the manufacturer, so these eyelets down here, so what I had to do is I had to take a screwdriver and shove it in and out a million times, just to get these laces in. So the manufacturer, when they do the skate, when they create the skate, they're going to make these eyelets here a lot bigger, and plenty big for hockey skates. They did it big enough from here, but not big enough from here all the way down. Next issue, there were too many lace hooks, so in other words, it was very tedious, cumbersome and tedious to all the way down here. It got annoying. I think the top 3 lace hooks are good enough, and the bottom 2 need to be taken out for that reason. That if you want, when you guys, whoever, customer buy the skate, they can request extra lace hooks if they want. I guess I can have that as an option on the website, but in my opinion, that it was just too annoying, the 5 lace hooks, so that will be an option. The next thing is the paint was chipping off the hooks. So the lace hooks here, the paint was chipping off. You don't see any more paint chips here. So the reason is because I took black paint. I took a black enamel, and basically what I did was I just went with my paintbrush and some really good black enamel paint that I had bought. I originally used some acrylic and it didn't work, but then I went in there with the small tiny paintbrush. As you guys can see, this tiny little paintbrush here actually was one of these, I believe. There it is. Something really small. And then I just touched up the whole thing, and it worked perfectly, and I let it dry and all that. So all this, by the way, all these smudge marks you see here, this is just from from the process of me working on the skate, and I believe this one here came like that when they created the prototype. But I'm going to show you that when they do the skate for when it's on the market, skate for the customer, it will be clean, perfectly clean surface. There won't be any blemishes. However, you might see just very, very minor defects because they are cutting this by hand, and it's a handmade boot. Everything's handmade. So the next thing is the material for the tongue was too coarse. Unfortunately, nothing could be done. They couldn't resolve it because this is the only material they had. And you can see it's double thick here. So what the thing is, if it irritates you, you could use a gel boot sock, and that will get rid of the irritation. Additionally, the gel boot sock will get rid of any kind of lingering lace bite, but you shouldn't get any lace bite with these because you can see how thick it is, the tongue. Alright, and then the next issue was that there was the shock from the jumps hurt the bottom of my foot. So again, I discussed this in the beginning of the video. This solves the shock problem. And the next issue is fraying of the X along the edges. You could see how not as much. See there, it's fraying a little bit. See how it's coming up, and this is only after a little bit of use. But thank God there's, well, not only for design, but there's this threading here, and this will prevent from fraying up to that point. Unfortunately, there's nothing that I could do about it. You can see that there's a little bit glue here, and along the edges there's a little leftover glue because I tried to put this, what's called this triple thick stuff on there, and I went and I used one of those little screws that you use for your eyeglasses. The tiny little screw for glasses, for reading glasses, and I used the point here. So I'm trying to get this into view here. It doesn't seem to be focusing well. But anyway, I used this, and then I went along to the edges here, and I'm trying to get this into view. So I went along the edges, and it was just too hard to not get it on the boot. So I'm going to need your opinion on this. Maybe I can include this triple thick stuff in the package as well, along with these inserts, and you guys could do this yourself before you use the skate. It's up to you. So just let me know if you think this should be included in the package. This triple thick glue. It's like a high gloss stuff. By the way, you could use this high gloss to put on these lace hooks if you want. I'm not going to do that, but if you guys want to, think that would be a cool option to have, so you could paint on a high gloss on the lace hooks as well as use it to keep the X from fraying, let me know and I'll include that in the package. And then finally, the last thing is there were smears on the X. So just from skating, like there are smears. I wiped most of the smears off so you can't see it, but for instance, you see like smears here, and from kicking my foot or from landing on the ice. Unfortunately, there's nothing I could do about that either. I did buy some Protect All, and this is made by a company called Kiwi. There's a many type of brands and stuff you could use, but this is like a water protectant, so I sprayed this all over the entire boot, and that worked well in terms of keeping the water off. But I think the water was pretty repellent anyway, just because of the leather. But I don't think this is going to protect from the smears. I mean, this stuff is, you're going to apply it a million times. It just didn't seem to really protect much against smears. So I don't know what to do for this leather. It's just going to have to be what it is. It's white leather, and it will get dirty. And that pretty much solves all the issues. And so having said all that, I believe that we're almost ready for the market now. The only other thing I didn't discuss here were the blade holders, the designs for the blade holders. So I'm gonna have to get stickers made up, I decided to choose this design where there's two triangles here, and then there's a big red X, red triangles in the front. I'm gonna get those stickers made up, and I use this design because it's the most simple thing to do, it's the cheapest to do, and it looks the best as well. So for those three reasons, and and also the stickers for the boxing. This is the box that the manufacturer said it to me, but I'm probably going to buy my own boxing. And on the front here, I'm probably going to have my own sticker, or maybe on the back, so that when the customer gets it, the presentation of the box looks better. Or I'll say something like Xtreme Ice Skating. I'll have a nice big sticker on the front of the box. And In case you guys are noticing, one other thing I didn't discuss with you is that, see these red hooks, or rather red screws here with black washers? I thought it would be cool to do that, but it turns out that it didn't look too good as I thought it would. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to keep it black. So I'm going to keep the washers black and the screws black. So what I did is I painted these washers black, and I painted the top of the screw black, and then I put that high gloss stuff on it, and then I let it dry, and then I'm going to screw it back, then I'll put it on the customer's skates. And I guess that could be another option too, whether you want black screws and black washers. I think it looks pretty cool if you just keep it black and nothing else, as opposed to just silver. So that's pretty cool, and that'll be another option. I will give you one more last update video on the Xtreme Ice Skate. Once I send it back to the manufacturer, we're going to get it stiffened up, and then I'm going to show you, the whole package, what it looks like with the stickers on the skate, and also the skate itself, what you expect to see in the mail, basically. Okay, so stay tuned. Take care, guys. Bye.